This exhibit is so meaningful to me because it talks about Richmond and Contra Costa County, which figures into my history. To feature the Jewish community here, which is a minority community, means a lot.
But to be able to see this museum, which is the first time I've ever been here, and to see this celebration is marvelous.
I haven't been to the Richmond Museum in a good while, but it's nice to have this temporary exhibit put up here to bring new people out. There's a lot of information on these panels about the Jewish religion and the customs and traditions that they have.
The museum is fascinating. It's a wonderful, wonderful example of what Richmond has been in that Contra Costa area. When the war was on, I know they were building the ships here and sending them. So I think that the museum is fascinating.
Thank you, Melinda. I'm truly honored to have the opportunity to welcome everybody to this great exhibit and great event.
Sorry, I'm almost crying because so much of my life is here and it's pictured among the people I worked with and played with and lived with and loved. But I think they've done a magnificent job. And I do compliment all of you who put this together. It's just, I think it's beautiful. And there's so much of Richmond, not only Jewish life, but Richmond life here. And I was delighted to see my husband's judicial robe. But thank you very much to all of you. This is a wonderful exhibit, and I hope everyone enjoys it as much as I do.
I think this exhibit's great. It seems to be very complete. It's got all kinds of interesting stuff in it, stuff I didn't know, stuff I did know. I think it really captures not just how Jewish life was in Richmond, but how it was for Jews in Richmond. This was my father's ceremonial judicial robe. He had like 3 robes. Most of them were cotton. This one's silk, and this he would wear on ceremonial occasions. It was too hot to wear on the bench. And my mother kept it because she kept it for me, because someday I was going to be a judge, but I never did. But so instead, it's wonderful here, and we're going to donate it to the museum, and I hope the museum enjoys it for many years.
I feel blessed to be here today, all these years later, to see familiar faces, to greet old friends, to remember the history that I learned when I was at Temple Beth Hillel. I heard a lot of these stories.
The more bridges that we create between all sorts of communities, the better. And so being outward facing, explaining Judaism and the history of the Jewish community in Richmond, I think will go a long way to creating understanding and conversations in Richmond.
One thing that I appreciate are the stories about people. You know, a lot of these people I knew really well.
Really cool to see, how this community developed here after World War II, and that there's these wonderful stories of the individuals who were here that go back to how they got here and so forth. It's just a really fun, interesting exhibit.
It comes to life, I mean, the artifacts and the stories, and then to meet people here who lived through this history and just spend time with one of your important members of this community, and it's thrilling, I think. And I also love the periodicals, the newspaper that you found, that you pulled out, that the connection to the Holocaust Museum, and that piece of what we knew, that we knew a lot, and that gets documented right here is so important. Congratulations.
This is an amazing exhibit, very well done. Beautifully portrays the history of Richmond from the beginning of the Jewish community here and the general community as well. It's
very well done. I recommend it to anybody to come. It's great.
I'm Julie Freestone. I've lived in Richmond for 28 years. And the museum, really, to be honest, I didn't know much about it. It was hidden away, and I had been here a few times. But when I got involved with the History Unfolded project, I realized how much potential there was for bringing the community together. And I think this exhibit has been a wonderful community building event, and since it is part of the Know Your Community series, which is just an incredible way to spotlight the diversity that Richmond has to offer. I'm happy that the exhibit's going to be here for 6 months, and we'll bring in people from all over the Bay Area, and so they will come to appreciate the museum.
This has been, under Melinda's watch, a whole new idea of participatory community museum. She is modeling the way museums are supposed to be, and she's had quite a few exhibits that preceded this from representing other communities within Richmond, and it's wonderful to have the Jewish community represented right in the middle of that storytelling, and I envision way more of these kinds of exhibits to bring every community, every church and mosque, every advocacy group into the museum. This will be their home.
This exhibit is important for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons why it's so important for me personally is because I really want to use history to work on some of the contemporary issues of society today. And so I wanted to provide an opportunity for people to learn more about Judaism and Jews in Richmond, and allow this exhibit to be a venue to combat anti-Semitism in this area. One of the important aspects of this exhibit for the city of Richmond, this exhibit is part of the Know Your Community series, and we are working really hard here at the museum to highlight all of the beautiful diversity in the city of Richmond. And diversity comes in many forms. It comes in ethnicity, and it comes in religion, and we are here today, we're using this opportunity right now to talk about the wonderful religious diversity we have in our city and all of the wonderful contributions that the Jewish community has made in the development of Richmond.